Sorry about that, everybody. Had to quickly step away as we are qualifying. Ben is retired first. It seems they will be getting the back of the grid. As we see multiple drivers now on track, one of them being Ricky Racer. We also have Rosenquist out up in front. Weepier, too, is in the back. Sam Drives and Blah are also on their out laps now. It seems that they're going to be going for the slowest lap with Sam. Possibly, anyway. Oh, that's just a massive accident! Sam there, proving to be very good at getting to the back of the grid. Absolutely bombing it. Carbon on the wet competitors. Oh god, I better let Sam know. Anyway. And Sam's game has crashed now as well. Absolutely stellar. Anyway. As always, let me know if audio is a bit too loud. I think it's still too high, personally. I'm going to drop it down back to where it was. As we see Carbon in the background drifting it out of the corner. Impulse now catching up to the back of Carbon. Still on the outlaps, there is a Rosenquist, it seems, to be going very slowly. Definitely just going to be waiting for the cars ahead to space themselves out, trying to get away from the dirty air. So I'm saying they crashed so hard that the game crashed. Weepier now is out of the session as well. I'm not able to jump on board there with what's happened. You might see it as we go alongside with Rosenquist. That's right in the middle of the track. Thank God we have ghosting on. That's still very close to the edge. I don't think that car was actually ghosted. Anyway, let's stay on board with the rest of the lap for Rosenquist. Bit wide on the entry for turn 1. And it's spun round. Curse the commentator strikes again with me. Able to get it going. Impulse is the only one behind, however, not going to be any hindrance to them. As Rosenquist is out of the gravel. Let's jump on board now with Impulse for their flying lap. Holding it nice and steady around the corners. Purple Sector 1 for Impulse. Spend a couple of races away, but Impulse is a decently quick driver in the McLaren. Be interesting to see where they place for this race. As Sam rejoins after crashing so hard that the game died. Another Sector 2 yellow, that will be the Mercedes of Carbon. Possibly going to retire from the session. Never mind, most likely to just spin. As Blyapper sits the fastest lap at 1:27.058. Another yellow flag down the main straight. One of the Alpines it looked like. That's the Mercedes of Carbon again. Spun round because of the yellow flag. Impulse goes second with a 1:27.5. Half second off Blyapper. That was still a pretty solid lap. Two Alpines seem to be trying to give each other a tow. Rise Verde in front. Not sure how Verde has fared this season. The one notable moment I have against them is in Brazil, where me and him came together. I did get spun off the track, but that was just a racing incident. No problem between ours. Verde going very wide out of the corner. No idea what Verde is doing. Slowing down dramatically to let Ricky Racer past. No idea what the strategy was there. I think Ricky's spending a while in AI mode. I see them typing into Discord. As Verde goes off the track, almost spinning it looked like. Let's jump on board with them quickly. Deliberately slow. Might just be letting their Alpine teammate get ahead. These two are working together. Verde would be getting a tow down the straight. Well, they are on medium tyres though, so they're not going to be as fast as the soft tyre runners. AlphaTauri of Saskimol seems to be going for a fast lap. Hoping to get up into the top 10. 14 drivers is not possible, especially with all those starting at the back. Saskia is currently sitting on 2 points over the entire season so far, the most recent of which being scored at Australia, which was last round. As it seems we have the Aston Martin, not sure who that is, of Pixels, causing the yellow sectors, going slowly, might be out of fuel or might just be letting off. Back and forth with Saskia now. Setting a lap time of... nothing improved, still at 130.06. Might be going for a double push, fuel depending. See, Carbon seems to be not sure what tyres they are. Intermediates now for Carbon. Trying to stay at the rear end of the grid again, as Trevoy now goes on pole with a 126.8, 2 tenths improvement over the Blah. Ferrari goes on to pole. Rosenquist causing another yellow sector. Not pushing, probably holding off to get back to the pits, or just waiting for a flying lap. Not much on track activity currently, still got the 2 AlphaTauris rocketing around. Jump aboard again with Saskia quickly, as she is approaching to the back of Rosenquist, never mind, let off a bit as the rear end seemed to have stepped out. As Rosenquist is going into the pits now. Won't be a hindrance. Back and forth with Saskia. Will this lap be an improvement over the 130.06? Or will she not go quicker again? It is another non-improvement, staying at the 130.0. Last lap being a 132 according to the steering wheel. As it seems, Apex is now coming out of the pits for the outlap, possibly trying to go for the slowest qualifying lap, with Pixels behind them as well. Might be trying to tow Pixels up for the front. Nearly binning it, wiping out one of the braking boards, the 150 meter. No idea what's happening. Let's jump back to Pixels, see what's going on between these two. While these two are going about their duty, let's jump back on board with the AlphaTauri. Letting off in the middle of the straight is an interesting tactic there. Don't think that's going to be how to get any time there, Saskia, but you never know. Oh, and she's going into the pits, never mind. Blah behind her, doesn't go in. Going for another quick lap. Sets a 126.830, very close between the AlphaTauri and the Ferrari, but it won't be enough to go up into pole. Riki coming out of the pits, that's very close between them two. Riki being an AI, nothing that they could do there. Blah having to back for right off. Now going very slowly. Picking up again. Pixels and Apex rocking towards the line now into turn 1. Let's ride on board with Pixels for the lap. Apex diving off the track, giving all the tow to the teammate. Bit of a slide there as the Ferrari, possibly with Jim Bobster there, seems to have had an issue in Sector 3. Carbon setting an absolutely stellar 138. Ferrari of Jim Bob's are still having problems, it looks like, unless it's just deliberately going very slow. Never mind, they're on the wet compound, so that'll entirely be the problem. The AlphaTauri now with Blyapper. That's a very bad rejoin there from Jim. Tyres looking horrible as Blah goes into the pits. The Aston Martin of Apex has had an accident up there near the top of the sector mark. Round the final corner for Pixels. They're going into the pits, they're not even going to set the lap. Jumping back to Apex, they're also going into the pits as well. There is not much going on in this session. Treeboy seems to be going for the outlap for another shot at a fastest lap. Won't matter at the current point in time. They're already on pole, not by much, but definitely is there. Jumping over to Riki, they're on a flying lap. Purple Sector 1 for the Alpine driver. Let's follow them along for the rest of the lap, see where they get. If the camera would change, that is. See, not a purple sector 2 for the Alpine. Still could be on a very quick pace going off the track though, round the top of the circuit. Halfway over on the left side as well. Not personally seen that line yet, but it could work for them. Round the final corner, DRS open. That lap will send them into third with a 127.2, ahead of SOG and Impulse. Still 4 tenths off the front runners. It was also a purple sector 3, so only really the middle sector letting down there. They could string that lap back together with a purple sector 2, that would see them easily onto pole, I think. As we see the Aston Martin pair of Pixels and Apex coming around again, possibly for another flying lap. As we see Apex rocketing past there. Already invalidated the lap, but I have a feeling that he's not going to try and go for pole here, considering he's wanting to start near the back. Heading back over to Saskia, going for yet another lap, hoping to break into the 129s and possibly at a push to 128s. Just got to be careful to not spin it over any of the curbs. Yellow flags. The Aston Martin seem to have had a problem, as Apex is basically stopped. Jim Bobster are also retiring from the session. Going to be starting near the back as well. Pixels jumping off the road along with Apex. We'll follow along them when they're on their proper lap. Treeboy as well seems to be going for yet another lap, to my knowledge. Unless that is just the retiring of Jim Bobster, which it seems to be. Back to Saskia. Bit wide on the entrance of the corner. Slows down as well to keep it in check. A lot of tap steering it seems to be. Rear end did step out for a second, but got it back in order. Coming down the straight now. Not long left in the lap. But will it be enough to break into the 129s? Just looking at the wheel, it doesn't seem to be, as it is not. This lap being a 131.9. Does have the ability to go for another lap if she so chooses, but it is going to be close. Back to the Aston Martins, we see Apex very far off track. Possibly racing their Aston Martin teammate in Pixels, dropping back now to let Pixels get onto the lap. Rosenquist behind in the Haas. Pixels needing to get half a second if they want to move up into fourth. As Treeboy now retired from the session, happy with their 126.5 that they set. That solidifies their position at the top. Still possible to go faster, however there's not long left in the session. Apex dropping back quite far. He is hoping that Pixels has done enough on this lap to be able to go higher. Impulse though on another outlap, as is Riki, as is Rosenquist as well. Over the line to the 127.357, that will put them above Impulse. However, Impulse is going for another lap. As we see, the Aston Martin of Apex has also retired from the session. Very far off there at the dot, as you can see in the bottom right corner of the track map. Saskia Mole going past them. They're somewhere out there in the distance. Saskia goes off the track. This lap, again, not improving, sitting at 131.976. Still needing to find 2 seconds. There is still enough time if she has enough fuel to be able to get the rest of this lap done. Will be a push though. It goes off the track. That's not going to help their hunt try and get up. Cuts the corner a bit. Not going to be much of a help. Jumping back to Impulse now. 127.5. Needs to find 0.2 of a second to regain the position that they lost from Pixels. Impulse definitely has the pace to do it, scoring 80 points over the current season, compared to Pixels 48. Just needs to string the lap together now. Slight bit of wobble coming around the corner. Also have one of the AlphaTauris up ahead of them. It seems to be Saskia, if I had to take a wild guess. Let's have a quick check. Yes, it is. Hopefully that's not too much of a hindrance there for Impulse. Definitely has the pace to go up. Keeping it solid around the corners, ever so slightly gaining on the AlphaTauri though. However, it will be a big gain down this straight, purple sector 2 for the McLaren driver. We'll get the ever so slight end of a toe from the AlphaTauri up ahead, as well as the combined DRS down the main straight. That lap sent him into third, ahead of Riki as well, for 127.129 as the session ends just as they come over the lap. Rosenquist now, still on the lap. Never mind, it's invalidated, so they're not going to be moving up. They stay 7th. Almost dive into the pits and absolutely bin it at the end of the session. Riki Racer still going around the track as well currently. Around the top of the circuit now onto the second to last straight. Unsure how this lap has went for them currently. Very wide of the off-track area around the final corner. DRS goes into third, jumps Impulse at the 126.9. Blyapper stays in second with a 126.830. The only driver left is Saskia. Not sure what Saskia's fuel situation is currently. Definitely has very little battery, as you can see on the steering wheel. Glide off through the corners again, going around the top of the circuit now. Judging by the wheel delta, I don't think it'll be another improvement. It will not be, as the timer ticks over the 1 minute 30 to set a 133.407, as that is qualifying now over for the Bahrain Grand Prix. Ferrari on pole with a 126.572, Treeboy 53, followed by Blyapper in the AlphaTauri at a 126.830. Top 2 is set, and the rear grid is also set. Championship leaders currently starting right at the back, setting no time, apart from Carbon, who set the time on the intermediates 12 seconds off. Going to be interesting to see how this plays out. A lot of fast drivers at the back, and some of the slower ones up at the front. I think it's also a record qualifying position for Saskia at a 8th position. Beating out the Mercedes of Carbon, but that's not really a surprise. Ten seconds to the start of the Bahrain Grand Prix. Grid is set today. On pole, again, we have Treeboy53 in the Ferrari, setting a best lap of a 126.572. 2.5 tenths up on the AlphaTauri there of Blyapper, as you see alongside them. Off for the formation, Rosenqvist jumps it quite a lot, rocketing right up into second position on the formation. Cutting across the track, going into first. It is... I'm not sure how well known, but as you can see, tyres do not cool down on the grid, so Rosenqvist trying to get the formation done as quick as possible. You see near predicted pit stops, both saying a two-stop strategy. I would not personally believe them. Just going to have to see how the race plays out, especially with any safety cars that might happen. Jumping down the rest of the grid there, in third you see Ricky Racer in the Alpine, setting their best lap of a 126.9, the final of the 126s, and 3.3 tenths off of the leader as they spin around as I'm looking off the screen. We also seen Weepier and Saskia getting disqualified from the session, possibly to do with something that Weepier done there. Ricky Racer trying to get back in position. Anyway, moving down the grid, we have SG and Impulse starting in fourth in the McLaren. Very quick driver, 80 points over the total of the season. They are starting in a prime position to be able to get up into the lead if they get a good start here on the soft compound tyres. Starting in fifth as well, we have the Aston Martin of FV Pixels driving alongside their teammate there of LS Apex 66. It's one of the Alpines, goes well off track there. Not quite sure who that is, can't see from here. Then in sixth we have Reyes Verde, that is the Alpine that we have off the road. Not sure what they're doing out there, they're in Ghosted as well. However, the Alpine driver doesn't have much experience in the FVC. Nearly spins it as well. They're going to be starting on the medium, so they're going to be a disadvantage at the start. Already lining back up from the grid now, but starting in seventh, we have VNT Rosenqvist. As we see Apex getting disqualified, and Pixels for hitting each other. Nice going, lads. Starting in ninth is our intermediate tyre qualifier, LS Carbon, jumping back into their final race on Xbox and F1. Going to be interesting to see how they fare. They are a very quick driver on both F1 and Forza. Hoping the best for them today. Down in the 11th, setting no time at all, is Jim Bobster. Next to him being POR Ben and Sandrives 42, with LS Apex starting at the back. Again, your predicted pit stops again have changed. I would not listen to them at all. Hopefully we get a good race. 1, 2, 3, 4. The 5 red lights are now on. And it's go, go, go for the Bahrain Grand Prix finale. Treeboy gets a good launch. Out behind them with Blyapper. The Alpine's getting a very good launch. Reyes already seems to be dropping back a bit. Jumping back so we can see what's happened. No big contact. 3 wide, 4 wide even for the first corner. Oh, bit of a contact there as one of the Aston Martins is off the track. Not sure who that is. Knocked around. One of the cars is out of the race. Pixels getting 10-second penalty. Excuse me if I jumped the gun earlier there. Saskimal and Impulse both coming together. Yellow flag sector 1. Not a brilliant start for the second go round, but better than last time. Unfortunate penalty. Sam drives up to 10th, it seems, off the start. Trying to make a move on Rosenqvist down the inside in the medium compound tyres. Gets put over the top of Rosenqvist, it seems. Not quite sure what happened there. Jumping back up now to the battle between the Aston Martin of Apex, the Alfa Romeo of Ben, and the Mercedes returning driver of Carbon. Last race for Carbon, they're going to be hoping for a good result here. Apex trying around the outside of the Romeo, makes it work, it seems, very wide out to the edge of the track. Gets it done, stays there, gets spun around with the Alfa Romeo. Very unfortunate there for Apex. Already the driver's champion, but that's not going to bode well for Aston Martin in the constructors, but not like it matters. Sam's down in 13th. Jumping back up. Field seems to be spreading out ever so slightly. Treeboy taking the fastest lap with the 131.9. Slight bit of field spread, not much of a gap up at the top. Sam Drives now takes the lead. I thought they were last a couple of seconds ago. How does that work out? Pretty sure it's Treeboy currently in the lead. Alpine of Ricky Racer giving a good battle up at the front. Blyapper up behind. Treeboy very far off the track, possibly even cutting it there, as the second Ferrari of Jim Bobster comes up behind in 4th. Jump aboard with now Blyapper going slightly off the track as the Rise Verde's Alpine off the road there for a bit, causing the yellow sector flag to come out for a second. FE Pixels seems to have disconnected from the session. Cars spacing out of it in this back group. However, up at the front it is still very close together. Riki Racer goes very off the track, as does Blyapper, trying to get as much speed as possible. Sorry for the predicted graphic coming up, there's no way to change that. Riki Racer gets very close up to the back of the leading Ferrari. Blyapper goes even further off the road again. We get towed down to turn 1. Depending on how effective it is, setting a fastest lap as Riki Racer. Looking for a move into turn 1 now. Might make it happen, doesn't, backs off. Blyapper has to go the long way around to the Alpine, gets shunted off the track ever so slightly. Loses the position to the second Ferrari now. As it's saying, Sam Trice is again in first for whatever reason. Slight bit of a time tower glitch. As Riki takes the lead from the Ferrari of Treeboy, round the outside of the top of the corner, just before the sector marker. These two are not wanting to give an each to each other as Treeboy gets very close to the back of the Alpine. Both of these drivers trying to go for the win, as the faster drivers are near the back of the grid. Sasuke already into the pits, possibly for a front wing fix, definitely, but it looks of it, for sitting there for so long. DRS for Treeboy, trying to get them. Ferrari caught up to the back of the Alpine, into the corner, has to stick it the long way around, doesn't quite make it, but that makes Riki go deeper than he wants to. Off the track fully over the left. Treeboy ever so slightly missing the corner, gets the better run off the exit. Alongside the Alpine now, takes the lead again from Riki. They both seem to hit ever so slight there. Treeboy had to back off the corner. Slight wheel banging with Jim Bobster. Blyapper in the AlphaTauri trying to make up with DRS, but they both have it, so they're not gaining much. Jim's going to be trying to look for a move down the inside on Riki into turn 1. Very late braking from both of them. Gets it done. Slight bit of wheel bang between them. Riki will be on the inside of the next corner, forcing Jim the long way around. Will go off the track. Very, very nearly takes out the AlphaTauri. Anyway, close, that would have been disaster for them. Trying to catch again up into the next set of corners. Not going to make it up. The DRS not powerful enough. Now it's just who's got the better turn in reaction to the corners. Riki goes off the track again. Yellow flags come out for a reason I'm not too sure of. Sam's into the pits now, apparently. That's very broken. Blyapper gets a very poor exit off the corner, completely dropping over the back of the Ferrari. Seems the front group is getting a bit more spaced out now. Let's jump back to the battle between POR Ben and LS Carbon, two very quick drivers of the season. Possibly not the return Carbon would have wanted for the series, as well as the final race, but things don't always go in the way that you want. Treeboy sets the fast lap of the race with a 1:30.3. DRS for the Mercedes to jump on board with them, going down the inside to turn 1, both on the medium compound tyres. Ben will not have the pace to keep the Mercedes into the first corner, but might be able to get it back through the corners. Slight bit of over-rotation on the exit. Carbon gets a much better drive through the second and third corners, heading up now to turn 4. Ben will have had the DRS, closes right up to the back of Carbon. Carbon just get a very good drive off the exit of the corner. Trying to search for a way past. You're not going to make it work through these corners though. Bit of a slide off the exit. Carbon getting a much better drive for 5th. But the Alfa Romeo will get DRS down the straight. Needs to have a good exit. Doesn't quite manage it. DRS assistance will keep him closer to the rear wing of the Mercedes though. Slight understeer through the corners. Gets it tucked in nicely though. Carbon goes well off the road. Ben will have the slipstream down to the corner and will get DRS for the main straight. Rear wing opens, gaining to the back of that Mercedes. Will go and make the move, same as Carbon just did, into the lap before. However, Carbon is much closer, closest right to the back, has to jump on the brakes a bit earlier than he will have wanted. Doesn't get as good of a drive off the corner as Saskia gets a 5-second penalty for corner cutting. As I think the battle at the front is also heating up again, with Riki and Treeboy closing in near each other. We'll jump on back on board with that if they get any closer, but these two seem to be the closest on track as of right now. My mistake, actually, it is Treeboy and Riki the closest. It would be helpful if this interval didn't keep putting Sam to first so I could see properly. DRS for Carbon, very close to the back of that Alfa Romeo. Might try and make a move down to the corner. Possibly going to dive into the side, backs off. Did probably think about it though. Yellow flags up ahead though, as Blyap has spun around right in the middle of the road. Thank God for Ghost. It would have been a horrific accident. Definitely would have run in a safety car. As we go back up to the top now, Riki very close to the back of that Ferrari. Will get the DRS assistance down the main straight. Equal drives off the corner it seems, as Blyap has spun again, now getting passed by Impulse up at the top of the circuit. Alpine gaining ever so slowly, gets past, will make it into turn 1. Jim's going to have to go the long way around if he wants to keep the corner. Tries staying there. Not quite enough though, has to cut the corner ever so slight amount. That opens up Jim Bobster, able to catch up to the back. Ferrari is now in a train trying to catch up to the Alpine again. Won't make many gains up through the corners, gets quite close to the back of the Alpine now through the initial start of it. Has to back off. Oh god, might have been a bit of contact there. As the AlphaTauri of, I'm not quite sure, probably Saskia this time, and LS Apex as well seems to have had an issue. Wondering what's happened there. Jumping back to the battle between the Ferraris and the Alpine. Both Ferraris getting a DRS now, assistance down the secondary straight. Will get very close to the back of the Alpine, not going to be close enough though to make a move. Wide the corners, however Riki is through the second part. Jim going wide, trying to maximise as much speed as he possibly can throughout the cornering. Will get a very good drive onto the main straight, cuts off the corner of the left again, will get the slipstream now to the Alpine, and will get DRS down the start-finish straight. Jim Bobster following close behind, trying to take advantage of the straight line speed as Riki dives into the pit lane. Both the Ferraris stay out to take the lead of the race. Carbon slowly gaining on Ben. Will it be enough into the first corner? It looks like it will be. Going to be going too wide through the first corner. These two very quick drivers, both very respectful they've been as well. Ben having to go the long way round. The second corner makes it happen. I jumped the wrong way, whoops. Carbon does stay ahead due to the DRS assistance, but Ben will be right close on it. You can smell that podium now coming towards him. Carbon gets a better drive at the corner, but Ben will have the DRS assistance down the straight. Going to be hoping for Carbon to get a bad drive off the corner to maximise it as much as he can. Not going to happen this time. DRS will limit the damage as much as possible. Sector 2-3 yellow flag as Saskia Mole spins up ahead of the battle for the lead. Gets going again. This will aid Carbon a bit down the straight. Gives him a bit of slipstream and defence from Ben, who slightly over-rotates on the exit of the corner. Seems Rosenquist and Verde going very far off the track there. Verde will get the DRS in turn 1. However, it won't get as good drive off the corner due to being on the harder compound of tyre. Rosenquist dips into the pits. There's going to be no slipstream advantage for Verde. Saskia is thankfully ghosted between the battle between these. Good bit of over-rotation there from Ben. Carbon and Ben both got the DRS on the straight. Seeming to be very close to the back marker, caused it for Carbon to be able to stay ahead. Otherwise it would have been jostled position again between these two. Field seems to be spreading out a bit again. Apex trying to catch up to the back there of the AlphaTauri, it seems, and Impulse coming out of the pits seems to be very close to the Aston Martin as well. Might jump on board with them at some point, as Impulse has gotten past. DRS though, nope, not DRS, just a very fast straight line car for the AlphaTauri. Gets back in front of the McLaren, but not for long. Impulse coming back on the soft competitive tyres. Will force his way past through the curvy middle sector. Apex as well on these soft competitive tyres, trying to catch up to Blah as much as they can. Going down to the DRS zone, Blah will get it as well, but it will be very far off track. Getting a much better drive of the corner, definitely a very big help from going off the road there. Huge distance from Apex. Jump back to Carbon and Ben. They jostle position again through the first corner. Not sure who'll get the DRS assistance down the secondary zone. It is going to be Ben. That's a detriment to Carbon. Both drivers very fast though, as we see the Ferraris up ahead very close together, possibly going to start fighting as well shortly. Hopefully those two can work together instead of hitting each other out like we've seen in real life a few times. One of the Aston Martins heads into the pits, that will be Atlas Apex, dropping off the battle there between Impulse and Blah. Sounds like their strategy possibly might be paying off. Heard the discussions about it earlier. DRS assistance now for Carbon down the third zone. I realise I've been calling it secondary, but I keep forgetting that the zone after turn 3 exists. Ben will get a bit of a slipstream now off the Ferraris. It's not going to be very big for Carbon. Carbon does understeer a slight bit on the entrance. Changes for the lead between the two Ferraris. He will be slipstreaming off of each other. They're going to be making a move into turn 1 though, it seems. Never mind, one of the Ferraris goes into the pits. That will be Tree Boy. DRS assistance for Carbon makes a late move into turn 1 against Ben. Ben's going to have to fight it all the way around the outside if he wants to keep it. Held it for the first part, isn't going to hold for the second bit though. As neither of them seem to have DRS now. None that I could see anyway. They are catching up to the back of the Ferrari, sorry, who is on these softer competitive tyres. Are the softs slightly wearing down to the point where the mediums are coming into their element now? Jumping over to the battle between the Aston Martins and the AlphaTauri and the McLaren. Impulse is on the soft competitive tyres, but they could be worn down to the point where they're no longer useful now. Purple Sector 1 now for the AlphaTauri driver. Understeers ever so slightly through the next few corners. Will get DRS through the third zone. Big over rotation though for the AlphaTauri that will ruin any advantage they would have gained. FE Pixels trying to get as much ground as he possibly can to the back of the AlphaTauri. As Carbon jumps into the lead ahead of Jim Bobster's Ferrari. Ben follows quite closely behind. Soft compound tyre is definitely degrading now to the point beyond its usefulness. Alfa Romeo getting a better drive off the corner. Goes to make a move on the Ferrari down the inside of the fourth corner. Gets it done. Jim's going to have to hope for a quick drive back. Doesn't get it. Poor drive off the corner. The two medium tyre runners definitely get a better... That's a weird yellow flag. Don't know why that's came up. There's nobody there. Ferrari seems to be falling off the back, as Rosenqvist now has definitely had an issue, possibly spinning through the first few corners. Going to be a detriment to their position. Jumping back on board now with Pixels, over rotation trying to follow the AlphaTauri of Blah. Seems to be struggling ever so slightly with the tyres. Not much going on there though. Jumping back up to the top with the external cameras for a while. Fiora Ben still trying to get the fight back to the Mercedes. Will get the tow and DRS down this main straight. Might make a dive into turn 1 if he's close enough. Doesn't seem like it though at this point. Maybe he will be actually. Moves out very late. Gets it done under braking through the first corner. Carbon keeps it on the outside. Has to force Ben the long way around for the next few corners. Will be on the inside though. Who took the DRS for the first corner? Who was ahead? It was Carbon. Ben gets the DRS for the next corner. Pulls ahead easily. Ben now leading the race from LS Carbon. As Saskia gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. That is now a total of, I want to say, 8 or 13 seconds. I'm not quite sure. No, it will be 8. Pixel's got the 10 seconds. Catching up to the back marker now. That will be Sam Drives 42, who seems to be disconnected from the race as well. Not quite sure what happened there. Didn't see any notification come up, but it might have been at a point where the battling was happening. Jumping back for a second, these two were very close together. They seem to be dropping off each other again now. Aston Martin not having a particularly good showing. But seems they've already got the constructors in the bag though. That's not what I wanted to see. Contact between the Williams and the Alfa Romeo forces the Williams off the road. Again with Carbon, they've dropped into third, or further into the back. Carbon now getting the DRS down the main straight, going to make another move to turn 1. Ben doesn't defend it. Knows he's going to get the DRS from the second zone after turn 3. Gets a better run than Carbon does. Already gaining before the DRS comes on. Ben getting a much better drive out of the corner. Carbon will have the DRS for the third zone, but don't know if he's going to be close enough to be able to make any move on the Alfa Romeo. Ben goes slightly wide through the entrance. Carbon getting a better line, but who gets the better drive? It will be Ben. Not by much though. Here comes Carbon. DRS open. Battery getting deployed. Will get up to the back of the Alfa Romeo. Not going to be close enough to make a move. Just has to hope it sticks with him through the end of Sector 2 for getting the tow down this final 2 straights. Equal drive off the final corner it seems. Carbon now getting the tow off of the Alfa Romeo. Will stay behind through the DRS zone. Through the DRS detection, sorry. Will get that advantage into turn 1. As I hit the wrong button. DRS now is wide open for LS Carbon. Mercedes steaming past, but we've seen that a couple of times now for the race. It's back and forth between these two constantly. Contact between the two cars. Not heavy as the AlphaTauri of Blyapa has spun again, it seems, at the top of the circuit. DRS now wide open for Ben. Fakes the outside, now goes to the inside. Carbon forced the long way around, stays there though the entire way around. It seems to be battling their slight side pod wheel contact. Now having to go too wide through the curvy middle sector. That it's very close between these two. How are they not taking each other out? Ben goes off the track slightly. Both drivers proving they are very skilled. Carbon will get the DRS through the detection zone. However, it matters who gets the better run through the corner. Not quite sure who it was. I think it possibly might have been Carbon. DRS now wide open. Ben stays to the inside, forcing Carbon a long way around. Too late though into the corner. Carbon easily ahead by the apex. They're now right on top of each other. Ben will get the slipstream through the second to last straight. Bit of a wobble there for Carbon, possibly intentional though. Ben now going to get the DRS down the main straight. Again, these two are going to be right on top of each other into turn 1. Going to be a lot closer this time though. Looks like they're going to be going side by side through the corner. Carbon brakes later. Ben has to duck in behind the Mercedes again. Slightly missed at the apex. Ben getting a better drive. Will he get the DRS down into the second DRS zone? To the outside. Alfa Romeo comes storming past again. These two are not giving each other an inch, and lap after lap they are going at each other. Still yet to pit though. As one of the Aston Martins causes a yellow flag at the end of Sector 2 starts 3. Not sure what that was about. Current time, these two are the closest on track. DRS for Carbon, gaining to the back of the Alfa Romeo, won't be enough down to the third zone, sorry. Will get the toe, doesn't get much to the back of the Alfa Romeo though, but DRS again now, down the main straight. Bit of a bigger gap between them, not sure if it's going to be enough though to catch up. Will be very close to each other if Carbon does manage to catch. It doesn't look like it will though. Ben will stay in the lead, Carbon getting the second DRS zone again for the next straight. Big gap to Ben. It seems Ben has pulled ahead ever so slightly. The Alpine of Riki comes into the pits. Ferrari seem to be right on top of each other again, but they're not as close as these two are. They're going really everything at it, trying to best each other. They're two very quick drivers. Carbon, slight over rotation on the exit. As game lag is now starting to take over, that was a weird stuttering issue. DRS for the third time now on this lap for Carbon, won't catch up to the back of the Alfa Romeo though. That's something I think has happened to Saskia. She is speaking to the Discord, hating the game with a passion. That's what I'll go into in that. Ben very far off the track. Soundro's getting a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Not sure what that's about. Last time I seen it, they were disconnected from the session. Here comes Carbon again. Ben's much further ahead. Carbon will get the DRS as Ben dives into the pits now. Never mind, fakes him out, comes back out of the pit entrance lines. Possibly tactical there. Ben goes to the inside. Carbon goes even more inside. Dives down the inside of Ben as he jumps in the wrong car, sorry. Wheel-to-wheel contact through the corner. Carbon does bully his way ahead. Not sure who was through the detection of a second. It was Carbon. Carbon gets the DRS now for the second straight. And just like that, these two have reversed. As soon as I thought Ben was pulling ahead, they faked going into the pits and lost the position. Possibly trying to do what Carbon's doing. Rotation as Carbon seems to just let the Alfa Romeo go by. Not quite sure what that was about. Yellow sector 1 is the McLaren, sorry, of Estrogen Impulse has spun out again. And it seems that the Aston Martin of Apex has had the same problem immediately after. Jumping back up to the fight for the lead now. Isn't net lead as of right now, but they are still going for it like it is. Let's see. Ben doesn't go into the pits. Sam sets the fastest lap at a 129.0. That's a big gap. Big margin. Carbon with the DRS goes into the inside for turn 1. Quite laggy it seems. Carbon gets dumped by P.R. Ben. Was a slight bit of ghosting there. I think that might have caused it, but that is the lead gifted to P.R. Ben. Carbon gets spun round at the first corner. And just like that, the closest battle we had on track is gone. Jumping back to the two Alpines now, they are the closest on track, it seems. Apart from the two Ferraris. Rise Verde following up on the hard tyres compared to Riki on the mediums. Riki seems the faster driver of the two, but Verde is getting the DRS assistance. As I'm just going to jump back to the Ferraris now, these two are very close together. Just like they have been all race, it seems. Not close enough to be within passing distance of each other now, but gonna have to see as very far off the track goes Jim. Treeboy getting the DRS down straight, but won't be close enough to make a move. Not much going on now. If there's anyone in chat that would like me to jump on board with any driver that is currently competing today, do let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to take a quick drink. My throat is very quite dry. Come back to see Ellis Carbon jumps into the pits and Saskia gets another 3-second time penalty. Going a lap down now. Does the AlphaTauri driver. Not going to quite be the result she wanted. Down 5 positions already. Carbon now. Starting another battle coming up to the back of Rise Verde on stock and tires. Makes it past like nothing at all there. Understeers though, locks up the brakes. Rise Verde coming back down on the inside. Carbon getting a much better drive off the corner though. Williams of Sam drives up ahead. Ghosted out and disconnect sign still up, so not sure what's going on there. Carbon gets easily ahead of Sam. Or Sam's AI, or whoever it's driving. Not really much now. However, Carbon sets a purple middle sector on the soft compound tyres. This might be a fastest lap attempt coming up from him. Not sure if he set the purple sector 1. Wasn't riding on board at the time that they went through the marker. As Ben now jumps into the pits. Slowly trundling down pit lane actually. Ben seems to be enough of a gap ahead to stay in front of Carbon. Carbon sets a purple sector 3 as well, but doesn't get the fastest lap. Obviously not setting the purple sector 1. Might be going for it this lap though. As Ben comes out of the pits onto 3rd position. Still a Ferrari 1-2. Jumping up to the Ferraris, as they are the closest on track currently. As the glitchy timing tower still says Sam is in the incorrect position. Considering it just said that Apex went past Sam, but I can see the Aston Martin dot is still behind it on the map. Not sure what's going on with that. It does just seem to be quite broken from my point of view. Will make for a bit of awkward viewing, but oh well. Jumping back, Carbon going down the inside of Riki Racer, down the 3rd DRS zone. Contact, that is Riki into the wall, broken front wing. Suspension seems to be intact still. That is a long journey back to pit lane from here. Pixels also managed to get ahead of Riki, and it seems that Rosenquist will as well, running over the front wing. That is unfortunate there. That might just be a penalty for Carbon, depending on what was clipped. Riki clearly unimpressed in the Discord channel. Carbon sitting at 129.9. Another 3-second penalty for Saskia. It's not going to be long now until Saskia does start getting harsher penalties. Riki jumps into the pits with the broken front wing. That is a yellow sector 3 for one of the Aston Martins. It is LS Apex having another spin. Unfortunate for the reigning champions, they spin again. Around the corner we see the AlphaTauri. I'm not quite sure who that is. It is Saskia coming now to overtake, I think, as Sam gets broken. There's been, well, not an overtake, but an unlapping, sorry, from Saskia. Jumping back to Apex. Golden and black helmet, as you see in the cockpit there. He spins again, hits into the wall. Luckily no damage, it seems. As he nearly drives straight into it. Reigning champion just not having a great time as Jim Bobster is retired from the session. What has happened there? Jim Bobster is out of the race. There is a safety car deployed on lap 22 of the race, just as I thought the Ferrari 1-2 would have happened. Jim is out of the race. Trueboy heading into the pits now. Not sure what happened. I still see a remnant of a front wing there. Not getting changed, it seems. Soft tyres go on. Looks like a fresh set of softs. POR Ben now into the lead. It's the Aston Martin of Apex. Stuck behind them. They are now up the back of the safety car, it seems. Never mind. Oh, no it is. Apex going between the two cars. As everyone now jumps into the pits to get onto a new set of tyres. Carbon, Rise Verde, Pixels, all in the soft compound. Fresh set of softs waiting there for Rosenquist, as well as the AlphaTauri of Blyapper. Impulse comes into the pits as well, most likely going to go on softs. They will last to the end of the race at this point. Sam's AI doesn't go into the pits, stays out, as they now jump down to the back of the grid. Riki might go in, I'm not sure, but those are pretty worn down soft, depending if they have a new set of them. Saskia currently not sure what she's doing, probably saving for Delta actually. Saskia makes no motion to go into the pit lane to change tyres, staying on the medium compound, possibly trying to get to the back of the group more than anything. As it is now, it was on lap 23, now it's at 22, now it's on 23 again. What is happening with this race? I'm not quite sure what's happened, as it seems now Sam has had a problem. Or Sam's AI, or whatever it is driving that car. Apex still rocketing along, trying to get back to the back of the grid. Safety car staying out for another lap, as the grid has still yet to catch up to the back. We're on to lap 24 now. As it stands, Aston Martin will be Constructors' Champions. In fact, they are even. I don't need to say as it stands. There was only one Williams car to try and contest it, and the Williams is not here. So Aston Martin win the Constructors' Championship at Bahrain. The grid seems to be in order now, as far as I can tell. Not quite got everybody caught up yet, however, when the restart does eventually come back round, the position of it will be POR Ben 12 in the Alfa Romeo, leading a lot of this race, Treeboy53, the second Ferrari driver, was having a good battle with his teammate, but something must have happened between those two. Wasn't quite sure what. Wasn't looking when it happened. LS Carbon currently runs in third position of the race. Spent a lot of the time battling for the podium positions. However, might get a penalty come the end of the race depending on what clips come through of Riki. In fourth is Spanish driver Reyes Verde for Alpine. Has had a decent turn of pace here, it seems like. A lot better than the previous season as far as I can tell. Currently in fifth, but with a 10-second time penalty, is FV Pixels. The second Aston Martin driver, currently with one of the Constructors' Championships now, through the combined efforts of himself and LS Apex. VNT Rosenquist now carries on in sixth. Their race back for Haas after spending a couple of races out. They have definitely shown they have a decent turn of pace, but not had the luck that they would have wanted here. Speaking of bad luck, Blayava down 7th. Running up near the top for a lot of the race, however, did have some unfortunate accidents. Not what you want to have, especially when you're fighting for potentially a podium or even a win. Riki Racer down in 8th after having a pretty hefty collision with the Mercedes of LS Carbon. Lost the front wing, surprised it didn't go out. However, lost a lot of positions trying to get back to the pits and fixing the wing. SOG and Impulse now down in 9th. Also a very fast driver out of position, not where you'd expect them to be. 80 points total over the season. Impulse has shown they are a quick driver and they're part of our stewards team here. The AI of Sound Drives down in... I don't know what position just happened there. Down in apparently 10th according to what I have. LS Apex dives into the pits for a soft set of tyres. Aiming to catch up by the end of this lap. I think we might be going green. Anyway, back to Sam. Runner-up in our Drivers' Championship as well as in the World Constructors with Williams. They were very quick over the season. However, some unfortunate events, most specifically Mexico, just shown. Sometimes racing's cruel. Current Season 4 champion, LS Apex 66, running very far out of position, down in 11th. Black and gold helmets signifying that they did win the championship last round in Australia. However, not had a good race here, spinning a couple of times as was caught on stream, and just not being able to catch up to the back. Down in last position in 12th, Saskia Moll. Not much to say about her, unfortunately. 2 points over the whole season. One of which was scored last round in Australia, in which she did not finish the race, but still managed to score her second and currently last point of Season 4. As we see, the Aston Martin of LS Apex has caught back up to the rest of the grid. We'll be going green this time around. Jumping back up to the top now for the restart. Pierre Orban is now in control of the field as the Aston Martin safety car rockets down the second to last straight, heading back to the pit lane. Hopefully we don't have any bad things happen on this safety car restart. Trying to get as much heat into the tyres. Most likely going to go out of the corner they are coming up to now. Would be the most advantageous in my opinion. Not quite yet, it seems. Still weaving around, still trying to get as much heat. And let's go! He goes, the field is released. Impulse gets a brilliant restart there. Immediately jumping up ahead of some of the back runners. Ben seems to got the jump on the whole grid as behind him. Carbon now comes around the outside of Treeboy. Trying to make it stick. Doesn't quite get there. Aston Martin of Pixels cutting across the corner. Seems all clean so far. Rosenquist getting challenged by FV Pixels. Trying to go around the outside, doesn't quite make it stick. It was very off the track. Pixels now coming back around the outside. Gonna have to make a stick. Gets hit in the back though by Blayapa. Pixels doesn't have a very good corner. Goes somewhere off the track. Dropping down positions. As they are 3 wide through the corners. Aston Martin's running together. Apex up into 7th from 12th position. 11th, sorry. No change up at the top. Top two groups are distinctly forming, it seems. Top four running away between Ben and Rise Verde, and 5th down to 11th. All staying together. Saskia bring up the back of the grid in 12th. Still a lap down though. No DRS for a couple laps. Piora Ben sets the fastest lap at a 1:29.0. That was very quick for a restart. Definitely getting the best of the jump. Jumping back to Carbon. Very close to the rear of the Ferrari as it scrapes along the ground. As Riki and Apex change positions. Apex having to run off the track slightly, it seemed, to be able to avoid something. Not quite sure what it was. Saskia Moll gets another 3-second time penalty. As we see Riki going off the track ever so slightly. All these drivers definitely trying to get as many positions as they can, driving as hard as they possibly dare. Lap 27 of 29, this is the end of the season. Every single point counts for positions. AlphaTauri play up, goes very far off the track. Seems Impulse might get the slipstream, as does Pixels, trying to go for the move now down the inside, possibly backs out of it. Pixels also backs out. Wasn't able to gain enough to the back of the AlphaTauri driver. However, there is still another whole straight to go. That's jumping back up now to Pixels, getting a slipstream off VNT Rosenquist Haas. Might try and make a dive down the inside, possibly braking late, looks to do it, doesn't think there's enough space, backs out of it. Will get slightly into the back of the Haas. Race control, DRS enabled, this will give an advantage to Apex on the next DRS straight, which is coming up just at turn 1. As Carbon jumps up ahead of Treeboy up at the top. Treeboy getting a poorer drive off the corner, but will have the DRS assistance to try and catch the Carbon. But Carbon also has it on ban. They are all fighting hard for the win of the race. Verde following up behind them. Apex and Rosen still very close to each other, trying to get the 5th position of the race. Still a lot of points up for grabs. Apex has to check up right and well. Looks to the inside of the corner. Tries to dive down the inside of Rosenquist. They leave just enough space. Rosenquist get a better drive at the corner, heading now to the hairpin. Apex will have the DRS detection. Dives to the inside of Rosenquist. Doesn't think there's enough space. Has to cut the corner. Over rotation. That's a very poor drive at the corner. Will have the DRS to limit the down, so it isn't going to be enough. Coming back up to the top as Carbon takes the lead round the outside of Piora Ben. Treeboy down in 3rd. Rise Verde following up in 4th. Ben will have the slipstream down the corner. Ben gets a much better drive off the corner as Rosenquist hits the wall out of the not out of the race yet. These two are all jostling hard for it. As Carbon dips into 3rd position, back behind Treeboy. Carbon goes very far off the track. DRS train for all of them. Carbon looks to the inside, as does Treeboy. They're going to be 3 wide into the corner. Three wide for the first corner. They all make it round somehow. Carbon gets dumped into 3rd. Treeboy takes the lead on lap 29. Who will it be? Will it be the Ferrari, the Alfa Romeo, or the Mercedes, or even the Alpine? They're going 2 wide into the first corner. Ben, down the inside, tries to take the lead from Treeboy. Doesn't quite make it. Staying on the inside through sector 2. They spin ever so slightly. Carbon up into 2nd as Ben spun round out of the win. As does Rise Verde. Seems now Treeboy versus Carbon for the win. Who will it be? Will it be Ferrari? Will it be Mercedes? As LS Apex now into 3rd. Ahead of the 2 spun cars. Head of the spun Alfa Romeo and Alpine. Carbon has DRS down the straight. Not going to quite make it up to the back of the Ferrari, sorry. Secondary Alpine of Riki gets spun around near the back, but now down the second to last straight of lap. Carbon will have the slipstream. Treeboy's going to have to defend like mad, right to the inside of the corner. Treeboy gets a very bad. Treeboy gets a bad corner. Who's it going to be? Carbon spins up the wheels. We'll get the DRS. It's not going to matter though. Treeboy wins the race for Ferrari. Carbon 2nd and LS Apex 66 from out of the points. 4 laps ago. Back up into 3rd. Ben takes 4th position from Impulse up into 5th. Verde drops down into 6th position and 7th for Blayapa. 8th goes to VNT Rosenquist. 9th goes to Sam. As coming round the final corner goes FV Pixels. No, it's not the final corner. That's the first corner, you dumb cunt. In 10th position now, FV Pixels rounding out the point scoring positions. Now in 11th and out of the points is Riki Racer, and at the back of the grid, still got some to drive, Saskia. That was some ending to the race. However, following around FV Pixels, one of the admins of the FVC, currently not sure if they're going to be returning to competition at any point soon. However, they leave the FVC on a high note. And there you have it. Alice Apex 66, driver of the day as well for Aston Martin. Aston Martin come off on a high note, 3rd and 10th. But there's the winner for Ferrari. Treeboy 53 takes the final win of the season to close out Season 4. It's been a series of a lot of ups and downs, quite uncertain at times as well. However, everything must come to an end at some point. There's the final podium of the season. Congratulations to all drivers who competed this season. Big congratulations to all drivers of this race. And a thank you from all the FVC admins.